Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly Delta fishing report for April 25th. Both the stripers and the largemouth are going full guns, I'll say right now, here on the Delta. So we'll have some reports on that, and I'm going to talk specifically to a lot of you guys that are out there and you may be struggling here on the Delta for largemouth bass. It's really getting hard to hear about these big bags that are coming in for tournaments and then go out and struggle during the course of the day. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to try to keep your confidence up. I'm going to let you know what I've been doing to catch fish, and hopefully we're going to get everybody out there having fun catching fish. But before we get into the report, we need to talk about some very important business. We have two local youth groups, the San Joaquin Bassmasters and the Vista del Lago Club from Sacramento. They have qualified two teams, one team from the Bassmasters, one team from Vista del Lago, to fish in the national championships. You have to qualify for this. The team from Vista del Lago won the state championship here on the Delta, I guess a week or two ago, and that qualified them to go back east to fish the championship. And the the Bassmasters also qualified a person, I think the top three in the state championship get a bid to go to the national championships. Here's the catch. The national championships this year are on Lake Hartwell in South Carolina. Two situations we got to take care of. The San Joaquin Bassmasters have a boater for their team, and they're going to be heading back there, but they're looking for funding. So the San Joaquin Bassmasters have a GoFundMe page. If you go to their website, you can check that out. If you have any problems getting hold of Cam, hit me up on my site, and I will put you in contact with how you can either get on to the San Joaquin Bassmasters webpage so that you can find that GoFundMe page. And I'll also say, while we're talking about the Bassmasters, tomorrow is the last day to buy their online raffle tickets for their annual raffle. They've got some great prizes, and that's the San Joaquin Bassmasters. Now, the Vista del Lago Club, right now Colin and Braden are looking for a boater, and this is going to require somebody to take their boat back to Lake Hartwell, South Carolina. It's going to be June 16th through the 22nd. I know this is a big ask, but hopefully somebody out there may have relatives back there that they visit, or maybe you have a fishing vacation planned out in that neck of the woods, and you'd be willing to be a boater for a couple of kids. That these will be the state champions from California that will be fishing the national championship. And again, that is Lake Hartwell, June 16th through 22nd. There'll be 3 days of practice and then 3 days of tournament fishing. The boys will have a house on the lake that you can stay at while you're up there. If you have any questions, or you know anybody that might be interested, give me a jingle on my channel, and we'll get all that information up there, and I will get you in contact with Colin and Braden to see if we can't get these guys a boater to go back and fish the national championships. And big opportunity for these kids, and man, let's hope that we can get them in there. And like I say, if you have any questions, get a hold of me at In Deep on the Delta, and I'll put you in contact with the right people. One other thing that I'll talk about is the Bass Hole. Rob Cloutier at the Bass Hole is having his, I think it's May 4th. I believe it's May 4th. I'll have that information up there. I'm getting so much up here in my head, I can't handle it all. That's nothing new, I guess. But anyhow, the Bass Hole is having their next tournament coming up. And for those of you who are looking to get into a tournament situation, I just want to tell you that, remember, the Bass Hole has two divisions, and it's called a high roller and a low roller. We'll call it a pro and an am. So if you're just getting started in tournament angling, you want to get out, you don't have to fish against some of the best sticks on the Delta. You can enter on the am side or the low roller side. I think it's $100 a team or something like that. It's very inexpensive to get into, and you can have a friendly competition against other weekend anglers, other serious weekend anglers. You can have a chance to win some money and probably some prizes. I hope to be out there doing another report how the tournament goes. So if you see me out there and you got a fish you want to show off, or you're willing to talk a little bit about how your day went, make sure you hit me up, and I'll get you on camera, and you'll have your 2 minutes of fame or whatever. So, all right, let's get into the river report and the stripers and the largemouth. We'll start off with the stripers, and I want to cover this as much as I need to, because they're really in the Delta, they're in the Sacramento, they're all the way up the Sacramento, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because everybody I know is interested in the largemouth. So I talked to Alan Fong. Alan is catching fish, and by the way, you guys know Alan retired. He is super busy with his consulting business, and he's fishing as much as ever. He's been on the water a lot. He's catching fish up around Liberty. Again, water clarity up there is varying from just, maybe a foot to, it's clearing up in some spots, but Liberty area is opening up to both largemouth and stripers. Alan's catching fish up there. I've talked to people that have been up by Collinsville. They're catching fish up there, up and down the Sacramento River. All those fish that have been stacking up in the bay for the last month, they're coming in. They're getting ready to spawn. They're in shallow water. Fish in the Delta here, take your choice, and they're all over. The key is staying shallow. Most of the guys that are doing really well here in the Central Delta are trolling A rigs, keeping about 100 feet behind the boat, and they're keeping their boat in 4 to 6 feet of water and just running them real shallow. The fish here in the Central Delta, most of them are in the 20 to 24 inch range, with fish ranging up to 7 or 8 pounds. Up around Collinsville, they're getting some real trophies. And a lot of fish in the teeners coming out of the Sacramento River and up there. So everything's looking really good. Get out and get your baits wet, and you'll probably catch some stripers. Now with that, what I really want to focus on is what's going on with the largemouth bass. And it's been hard for a lot of the weekend anglers to listen to me talk about some of the big weights that have been coming in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and then come out on the weekends and find that it's just super tough to catch fish out here. And I want to talk to you guys, and number one, it's not easy. I talked to Rob Cloutier, and Rob's sitting in the shop, he's getting all these reports, and he's saying, it's wide open. I said, how have you been doing, Rob? Man, I've been really dragging my feet out here. Rob's a good angler. He's a seasoned tournament angler. He has, information coming from every which way, and Rob's struggling. I'll tell you, I feel like I've been struggling. I've been putting in a lot of time, and the only reason that I'm catching fish out here is because I put in so much time, and I'm lucky that I'm retired, and if I have a bad day, I can come out and hopefully fix that. But when you only get out once or twice a week, it's much harder to fix. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you some suggestions on what I've been doing to catch some fish. And guess what? I even have a fish to show off that I caught out here this morning. So what do we have here in the Delta right now? 70-degree water temps, 65 in the morning, getting up to 70 degrees. We're going to have stable weather conditions, 70 to 75 degree temperatures. So that water temperature may even be going up a little bit higher by the time you guys get out here. Clarity in the Central Delta is getting better. We're talking, and better from 4 to 5 feet, probably to 5 to 6 feet. It's very clear water. Everything is fishable. The fish are in great shape. The water's in great shape. All the vegetation is in great shape, but the fishing is tough. We're going to talk about the New Gen tournament last week. First place was 30 pounds, 7 ounces. Second place was 30 pounds, 2 ounces. That was my buddy Christian, and talked to Christian the other day, Ostrander. He's been in town for a couple of weeks. He's won a couple tournaments out here, I think, and he got a second place in the New Gen. He's going to be heading back east to fish some of the Toyota tournaments. We'll let you know how Christian's doing as he gets back there and fishes his next national tournament. So first place, 30 pounds, second place, 30 pounds, third place, 27 pounds, top 5, all over 25 pounds. That's hard to take, listening to that, and then coming out here on a weekend, or for myself coming out the next day after the tournament and getting 7 or 8 pounds. Here's the deal. There were 40 boats in the tournament. This is a team tournament. The average team had 3.7 fish. The average team did not put a limit of fish in the boat. The average weight of the fish per fish was 3 pounds, 4 ounces. That's a good average weight. But out of the 40 boats, the average team weight for their 3.7 fish was 12 pounds. Now, I guarantee you this, I don't know all the guys in New Gen, but I know a lot of them, and these are the best fishermen, or some of the best fishermen, that are on the Delta. They're not guys that are weekend anglers. They're putting in a lot of time and effort to come out here and catch these fish. Now, the guys that were in the top 5, all over 25 pounds, that's pretty darn good. But look at the average, catching about basically 3 fish per boat and about 12 pounds for weight, fishing an 8-hour day with 2 exceptional fishermen on board. Yeah. Don't think you're going to come out and catch 25 or 30 pounds. Now, how are these guys doing it? I'm going to tell you. Obviously, I'm not in the boat with these guys, but I've been listening to a lot of and interviewing a lot of the winners to these tournaments. Generally, they're not catching a lot of fish. They're catching 5, 6 fish. I don't know how many people I've talked to that have won tournaments with big weights, 27, 28 pounds. They only catch 5 fish. Number one, these guys are putting in a lot of time on the river, and this is what separates the guys that are winning these tournaments and the average anglers. They're hunting more than they're fishing. They're coming out legally, during pre-fish, and putting a ton of miles on their boats and looking around, and they're finding a few places. When you see these guys coming out and catching 5 fish, 6 fish, and winning tournaments, they're not randomly catching these fish. They're finding 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots. Maybe they're finding a bed fish or 2. They go out and get a couple 6, 7, 8 pound fish. They go out and maybe get their other 2 or 3 fish to fill out their bags. So the reason that they're getting these fish, I guarantee you, they are putting on hundreds of miles in practice, finding isolated areas, and that's what it's all about right now. So how can you be successful in this next week? Number one, you've got to find, the fish are shallow. Fish 4 feet, 1 to 4 feet of water, that's where most of the fish are, that's where the bigger fish are. If you are a puncher or a frog guy, you've got to be punching and frogging. You've got to be very close to cover. I love frog fishing. I'm not a big punch guy. I do it because that's the way to catch fish out here. I've been fishing all open water fish, and I'm catching fish, but I have to have my baits within inches of cover. Surface vegetation, tules or hyacinth, whatever it is out there. You've got to be close to the cover. And one of the reasons that I think you have to become a more accurate caster out here is because of the sea lions. These fish are, they can't get out and just roam around, when they don't have cover nearby, because there are so many sea lions. It's just been difficult to get away from them. I don't know what we're going to do about them, but the fish are staying very close to cover. So number one, make long cast. I don't care if you're fishing a worm. I don't care if you're fishing, a crankbait, a chatterbait. Make long cast. Be very aware of your shadows. Sun's coming out, and I've been fishing early morning, and I'll tell you right off the bat, the last couple days I've been out early. It hasn't been worth a darn. Full moon out here, but the fish are being very particular when it comes to shadows, so watch your shadows, make long cast, and 2 things that the pros have that the weekend guys don't have: confidence in the baits that they use and confidence in the water that you fish. I guarantee you, anywhere that you're on the Delta in 1 to 4 feet of water, there are fish. You have to have that confidence that you're always fishing in front of fish, and you have to have the confidence that the bait you're using will catch fish. When I talk to Rob, I ask him what baits he's been hearing about. He says, don't worry about it. You throw a worm, you throw a chatterbait, you throw you know, a spinner bait, you know, any type of plastic that you're throwing out there, drop shot, the fish will bite it. It's just you have to have that confidence in that bait. So fish close to cover, make long casts, and have confidence wherever you're fishing that there's going to be fish there. Now I want to talk to you about what I have been doing, and I've not been punching and I've not been frogging. I told you that my bubble walker just has not produced the last couple days. I don't know why. It's been perfect conditions when I've been out there super early. That's the morning bite. Don't get up at 3 in the morning to get out and fish that morning bite. If anything, stay out in the evening and fish that evening bite. That's what I'm going to be doing here coming up in the next few days. If I get onto these fish for topwater bite, I'll let you guys know it. What have I been catching a few fish on topwater? Nice wake baits, the Mikey. If you don't have the big Mikey, I guarantee you what you're going to want to do is go to that smaller Mikey right now, or the baby Mikey, whatever they call it, because I have really been doing well on this Sioux Witch, the Mega Bass Sioux Witch. It's a smaller version of the Mikey. You can see it's not very big. If you have jointed wake baits early in the morning, that's what these fish have been hitting. I have caught a lot of fish after the sun comes up on worms. You definitely want to keep a worm on, but the other thing that you want to be using is this little horny toad with an underspin. That's the color I've been using, and this thing has been doing everything that I need it to do. It's been catching some pretty decent numbers of fish, and it's been catching some nice fish. I don't weigh these fish a lot of times, but I'll say fish up to 6 pounds. So those are some oddball baits. A lot of bluegill are now coming up. They're getting more and more active. I like that Mega Bass Battalion. That's going to be one that I think is going to come on this this spring and summer. And you know, you just have to have confidence. You've got to make the long cast because there's so much vegetation out here. You have to hit the potholes. So if you're looking at a pothole and trying to hit that pothole, by the time you get close enough to see it, the fish are gone out of that pothole. You got to make a long cast. I got this fish this morning on a, what was it, this Sioux Witch, and I'd say about 4 pounds. It's a nice fish, but beautiful fish. You can tell the tail, they're not spawning out here. All the fish aren't spawning, but just very good looking fish. Let's get that back in the boat, or back in the water. And they're out here, they're available, so just get out and got a boat coming by here, and just get out on the water, have some fun. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Till next time, we'll see you guys out here. Good luck.